They just tried to assassinate Donald J. Trump, the leading presidential nominee, in what turned out to be arguably one of the most iconic photos in modern history of any president, past or currently living. I do believe this photo is going to go down in infamy, and it's kind of funny. You have nothing but memes coming up across the board. The homie's got blood on his face. It's to the point where they're making this thing a freaking album cover. But how is that going to affect markets, and in particular XRP? Today marks July 13th, 2024, which is the year anniversary to when Ripple won the lawsuit and was considered not a security. But what's causing this rally in a market that is currently very turbulent, uncertain? We have a lot of political turmoil. I mean, we have assassination attempts. Over the last 3 to 4 months, markets have consistently been trending down. And for the first time, we're starting to see just a bit of light in a very dark place. So in this video, we'll be covering why XRP Ripple is one of the trending top tokens in the market right now, actually coming in the lead before Bitcoin itself. We'll be covering the assassination and any new information that's come up in recent hours. We'll be covering the CME group and the latest update that might be the first step towards an XRP ETF. We'll be doing some technical analysis into open interest in futures markets. And finally, we'll be covering the price of XRP and what's potential now that we've rallied up to 52 cents as of today. So thanks so much for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you in it. All right, bull runners, be prepared because there's going to be some images on here that might not be good for anyone who's queasy around blood. Obviously, the image of Trump has blood, but it's not as shocking as the actual image of the killer. And although this is probably not going to be new news for anyone if you're on YouTube, Twitter, any social media platform over the next, day and coming week, as this is probably going to be the only thing that people talk about. Like if we hop on over to Google Trends and type in Trump, basically going back 2 years from June 13th till present day, this is the most popular that search term has been. We're at a 100 rating in relative to that period of time, which means right now Trump is trending just about more than anything. And personally, I have never seen anyone or anything trend as hard or as much or take up as much real estate on any and all social media platforms. Just one look at Twitter, for example, you will see nothing but live and spaces that are constantly talking about the Trump assassination, Trump shot at rally, people all having their opinions that it was an inside job, that it wasn't, that it looks staged. My personal opinion is that it's highly likely this wasn't staged by any means. There was someone in the crowd that died behind him, and word on the street is that there were multiple deaths. So we're going to get to the bottom of that here shortly or over the upcoming days. But everyone in the world has had a statement to make, including the president of India, Narendra Modi. But if you just scroll your social media profile and there's that brutal image of the killer on top of the roof, it's just constant talk about what happened, how it happened, who did it, who was it, who failed to do their job properly. I've never seen more images, and that led betting markets such as Polymarket to put Trump in the biggest lead any president in modern history has been. He's sitting at about a 69% betting odds or chance that he's going to win this election. Joe Biden is sitting at a measly 16%. The good news is, at his statement today about the assassination attempt, he seems slightly more coherent than normal, but still definitely not mentally fit. Now, whether you are on the right-leaning side of the political aisle or the left for Joe Biden, personally doesn't really matter for me. But from the crypto market perspective, I will say that Donald Trump seems to be pro-crypto, whereas Joe Biden consistently vetoes, or people on the left side of the political aisle consistently don't push any crypto-friendly bills through to the table. So that said, if Donald Trump wins this election, it's going to be a very pro-crypto environment from a U.S. standpoint, from a regulatory standpoint. Virtually all of the big players are now backing behind him. And just recently, Elon Musk, after the assassination, mentioned that he is 100% backing Trump, and even said he's donating a sizable amount to the America PAC, a super PAC working to elect Trump. This seems to be the beginning of Elon's plan to pour unprecedented amounts of money to help Trump win. And if you look back in history, in 1984, when Ronald Reagan, one of the most popular presidents of modern history, had an assassination attempt, he actually won in an absolute landslide against Mondale, his Democratic opponent. And even Bill Ackman, the legendary investor, said, "I am going to formally endorse Donald J. Trump." And he's been all over the political aisle this year endorsing one Democrat after another until they basically lost the lead to the candidate for the Democrats, which was Joe Biden. And now here he is explaining that, a lot of people that are Biden supporters who know him tend to assume that he's lost it. And a major point that he makes, he says, "Remember, media organizations are like sports teams that run plays chosen by their owners and executed by the coaches they hire. They are not unbiased arbiters of the truth." And so my goal in this video is not necessarily to influence you to vote one way or another. And if you're outside the United States, it doesn't really matter anyways, but it does matter for virtually all markets, especially crypto right now. That said, I'm trying to present the evidence and the facts here. Please keep an open mind on the upcoming presidential election. Bear in mind that your views on Trump may have likely been dramatically affected if you have sourced your info on Trump from mainstream media or friends or family who have relied on mainstream media as a source of knowledge. And when you really think about what's happened over the last 4 years and arguably 8 years as Donald Trump has been in the political arena, virtually no candidate that we have ever seen rise to the level that he had, from someone who was definitely not a favored candidate, someone who thought no one was gonna, he was never gonna win the election. They didn't take him seriously. They made fun of him and mocked him constantly. Won the 2016 election. And they're like, we can never allow this to happen again. And so the attacks have consistently grown worse and worse and worse. And you have to wonder, why is it that political candidates on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, turned their backs on him in 2020? Why is it that they constantly hate him and were looking for ways to jab at him? And they tried to, financially assassinate him through constant legal battles and trials. They tried to do a character assassination. And listen, everyone has a history. I'm not standing up for his, bad deeds or acts in the past, but we all have a history, especially if you've been, a popular New York playboy for, 40, 50 years. And finally, when they couldn't get that done, all the rhetoric around he's a dictator, he's a fascist, potentially led some crazy person to go and want to finish the job. And, at the end of the day, we really don't know what happened. Arguably, we never will. They never even released the JFK files on who assassinated him, but a lot of people who are in the know would argue that it was the CIA, and there are people who have seen that documentation, and anyone who was involved in that, assassination are already dead. So at this point, even if those documents and files came out, no one would get in trouble. And so this is going to be top secret. The FBI is now involved. They are doing a thorough investigation, but I can assure you it's going to come down to probably a crazy person who wanted to do this. And all of the people that were hoping that Donald Trump would have been ended tonight are now coming out with a statement saying this should not be how democracies are run. But at the end of the day, I just don't believe it, and I don't think most people do. So that led to a legitimate assassination, which failed. He turned his head at the last second, which can be seen from a photo by the New York Times photographer Doug Mills, who shows the bullet flying just behind Trump's head. And so I'll save you the video because I'm sure you've probably seen it a dozen times, but I do believe this is one of the most important moments in this election cycle. One of our personal friends said this, not gonna lie, kinda wild how Twitter has all of the raw media and other major media outlets are just trying to make this Trump shooting to be staged. Arguably, this is a very big moment. A lot of people are now backing him because of it. For those who were in the middle of the aisle are now looking to back him as well. Again, very pro-crypto. This is kind of where this raw and decentralized media is truly important, if you ask me. I mean, people are starting to do this whole many men get rich or die trying memes. And here's what Patrick Bet David, a very vocal political commentator and the guy behind the PBD podcast and Valuetainment, said. To those saying that the election is over and Trump will win by a landslide, you're being naive. Here are my concerns. First, he must stay alive in order to win. And second, there's a potential leak in the Secret Service and the protection of the president. Too many blind spots. There needs to be a better system of protection. One bystander said he saw a shooter climbing up to the top of the building. He told Secret Service and police, but they didn't react for several minutes. A PMC needs to be hired to protect the president. Someone like Eric Prince from Blackwater, private military contractor. 3, stage and AV security team needs to be upgraded. 4, the RNC needs to double down on the end-to-end security. 5, an immediate tweet, text, and email needs to go to the entire base to raise money. So specifically, what is Patrick Bet David talking about? Well, there was a BBC interview of a gentleman who said he wasn't able to actually see the event from inside, so he was kind of outside and then saw the actual shooter and notified authorities, and they did nothing about it.
Someone who was here, you weren't inside the event,
Nope.
but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw and why.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up. And probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking, I'm estimating here, I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up
you
there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see?
Which truly speaks to the gross incompetence of those who are charged to protect Donald Trump and the Secret Service. As you can see, this would have been where Trump was on stage, and what the guy's referring to is this little angled area right over here, this little haven or nest, so to speak, where he was probably leaning right back over it. But in all situations and circumstances, that's one of the first places you would have really checked. And arguably, they already have drones going up in the air. At one point, someone pointed out that there was a ladder put up here that wasn't seen on Google Maps beforehand. Again, another major security risk. So here is a thread from a guy named Blake Hall. He said, I was a sniper employment officer for my battalion and led hundreds of combat missions. There were major security lapses in the security plan that allowed a shooter to engage President Trump from 130 meters, which is an easy shot. Again, here is the image of where he was and where they killed him. not after he already fired shots into the crowd, killing one person and then injuring Donald Trump. Here's the video that we just showed you. There is a sniper team scanning the rooftop for threats, but the team only has long guns. You generally want a security element co-located with assault rifles that can engage much faster, especially within 300 meters. They couldn't engage fast enough. They neutralized the target, but not before he wounded President Trump, killed an innocent civilian, and seriously wounded 2 more. Good shooting, but gross failures in the plan meant that they were too slow to detect the threat. Mission failure. And by the way, mission failure means life or death. And then here's a post from Jack Poso that said, how was the sniper with a full rifle kit allowed to bear crawl onto the closest roof to a presidential nominee? Elon Musk responded, extreme incompetence, or it was deliberate. And so that's the conspiracy now. Was it deliberate? Here's a man that they obviously sees jumping up and down, letting them know there is someone here trying to shoot, and they do nothing about it. He's saying that they looked away, that they pretended like they didn't know that there was anything wrong, which is really just weird. Either way, the Secret Service leadership must resign. And here is a post from NBC News basically saying, Tucker Carlson stokes conspiracies, claims U.S. is speeding towards assassination of Trump, which is just hilarious now because it is true. In other words, the reality is any opinions, anything posted by legacy media is just total bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. You cannot believe everything that you see anymore. And arguably, the only way that we can believe anything at all is by taking in a wide varying range of opinions and information from people all over the political spectrum. And when you start to see the majority of the masses posting and believing a lot of these same things, it doesn't mean it's always true. It just means that there's something there. And so you get to decide what actually happened. Now, most people are saying, the people that are on the left-hand side of the aisle that are basically saying, well, this is staged, yada, yada. I mean, there's legitimately a couple of dead people, right? Obviously, the would-be assassin, obviously a person in the crowd, 2 others are seriously injured. So this wasn't just like a complete total, staged event where someone comes up with ketchup for an ear, right? This was something that very much happened. That's the first thing. The second thing you have to ask is why? Who did it? What stoked it? And arguably, was it just a lone gunman? And the reality is we may never know. But I do believe this is positive for crypto. As the crypto markets have rallied today, I do believe this is positive for, this presidential nominee now. And I do believe that now more people are backing behind Trump. I think this made him far more popular and actually helped his cause more than anything else ever could. I often say that the photos of Trump are like Renaissance paintings. But on this awful evening for the country, the photos feel more biblical. The sunlight found Trump's bloodied face as he fell to the ground and produced this photo. So it's safe to say that if Trump doesn't die before the November election, and I think they're going to take far better measures to protect him now, then it's very likely that he's going to be the next U.S. president. And so I do believe because markets are forward-thinking, right? They're typically proactive, and sometimes you get reactive like today. But for example, right, a lot of the times markets will actually dump into inflation fears and not the inflation itself. And so in similar fashion, I do believe that because the markets are forward-thinking, things are going to start to rally sooner rather than later. In other words, we're not going to get a late end of summer, early fall rally. I think we're going to get a rally before then. So as you can see here, right, XRP is actually, as of today, the most popular and trending altcoin or token in the crypto market, currently sitting at a 57.56 positive sentiment, 19.77 neutral, and only 22% negative. Why is that? Well, if you go ahead and click on XRP, you'll see that right here we have a summary as to why. The word XRP is trending in the given text because Ripple marked the first anniversary of its win over the SEC, causing a sharp increase in XRP price. Various articles discuss the potential of XRP to flip Ethereum in market cap. Now that would be huge. The ongoing legal battle with the SEC and the impact of the court ruling on Ripple and the cryptocurrency industry. On Twitter, discussions revolve around Ripple's native token XRP and its performance in the crypto market, legal battles with the SEC, yada, yada, yada. And boy, did things really fly today. So right here was the start of the 24-hour period. And at one point in time, we were about up 20%. Currently, we're up 10%. And it's obvious that when you rally as hard as it has on a day such as today, up all the way back up to that resistance at 56 cents, that you would get a bit of profit taking. And that's what I would argue caused this little decline. But when we come over to a daily time frame or greater, you can see that this is exactly the type of volatility that we've been discussing. At one point in time, XRP dumped to the 38-cent range, and that marked the local low. Especially when you look back on further time frames, there is a boatload of support right here from a volume standpoint. There's been a lot of interest at that 38 to 36 cent range, and that's exactly where it dumped when everything was dumping. Then it got back up, bought back up a few times for a bit of indecision right here at the 42 to 43 cent level before making that crazy move to the upside. So we had this nice little triangle that was built and ranging through a while. Then we saw some actual volatility below and above this range right here. Now we are sold off at the 55 cent level, so I'll go ahead and remove those drawings. Okay, so it's safe to say that this right here seems to be a year support resistance level. Right here we had resistance, right here we had resistance, support, support, support. Okay, and it's not perfect, but this would be that range, about 42 to 43 cents. And so we broke below it for a bear trap, only to see the market rally hard on a day like its anniversary and this news around Donald Trump. Now, we've already discussed, okay, we'll go to that daily time frame, how 52 to 55 cents would be the range to beat. Right here to like right here. This is the range to beat. Why? Because we've seen consistent sell pressure for an entire, let's see here, since April of this year. So it's been a while. It's been about 4 months plus and going where we've seen consistent sell pressure at the 55 cent to 52 cent range. And so it's only natural, right, that we get a bit of resistance here after just a crazy rally from 38 cents to present day of a 35% gain and upwards of a 47% gain. Now, another reason that this could have happened is because the CME Group, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, announced that starting July 29th, benefit from the transparent pricing on 2 new cryptocurrencies, a CME CF Internet Computer Dollar and XRP dollar reference rates and real-time indices are added to our expanding suite of benchmarks. Brad Garlinghouse responded, "Nice to see CME Group and benchmarks collaborate on this for an XRP index. The market has spoken," right? Because obviously we can't rely on regulatory bodies. And then it went on to say the first step towards institutional crypto products is to have a trusted benchmark reference rate, right? If you don't have a rate that everyone can trust, then you never really know what's actually happening. And so if any move can happen on one exchange versus another, right, you get liquidated here when you're looking at a different price over here. That's not fair. That's not transparent. You need one benchmark reference rate. And now the CME is going to get behind that, which speaks volumes to the fact that maybe they're prepared for an XRP ETF, which is very much possible, especially if we get this final settlement. To add to that further buy pressure, additionally, our analysis of CryptoQuant revealed that XRP saw rising exchange outflows from a low of $40.6 million to a whopping $1.5 billion. That is a massive increase of outflows, which means people are withdrawing from exchanges to cold storage or hot storage wallets, whatever. It'd be a DeFi wallet or, an actual Trezor or Ledger. And ultimately, that typically means that they don't intend to go bring it to market or sell it anytime soon, which is a very positive thing for the supply-demand economics of XRP. Now, finally, here we have the chart of XRP that we've been looking at. Here's our low of 38 cents. Here's the rally that we just experienced today up to the 56 cent range. And we had a little bit of a sell-off here. Really what I'm after is I want to know what's going on here. Okay, so right below that, we have open interest candles. Whenever you see open interest rising with the price, all it is indicative of the fact that longs are actually opening the market. And then whenever you see price decline and open interest decline, It simply means the longs are closing. So anyone that entered long right down here at 4 cents up to and held through 56 cents are actually closing their long positions, right? So it's not necessarily negative. This isn't bearish by any means. If anything, this is natural and healthy. People who rode this leg are simply taking profit. And as you can see here on this specific candle up to 56 cents, we had about $1.8 million of shorts liquidated, right? And so whenever you get a big, massive spike of liquidations, typically that might mark a short-term reversal. And so finally, I'll come back to the chart on TradingView. As you can see here, I have the blue line would be a 10 EMA, so a 10 moving average. 20 moving average would be this orange line, and the red line would be a 55 moving average. So we consistently rallied and actually saw support at the 55-cent range since our low at 42 cents, right? And then we were supported or above that 10 moving average for a while, only to break back down. So I do expect us to see a bit of a more downside, potentially to that 49-cent level, and you would find confluence there, right? Because that would be our 55 moving average. And then if I go to a bigger time frame, as you can see, that would be our 24-hour period moving average, 49 cents yet again. So I think we could potentially break down to the 49-cent level. And if you look back at the chart, that would kind of make sense, right? We've had a lot of support and resistance from 48 cents to 49 cents right here. So there is enough of a confluence between all of those ranges. So I think XRP could potentially sell off here, but into a rally like this, I would like to buy these ranges here and then see the price break out and above finally that 55-cent range for a new move to at least 75 cents in the upcoming week or month. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Go ahead and leave us a like. Shoot us a comment for what you think is going to happen in the upcoming weeks or months. And then go to bullrunners.com. You can do that by clicking on the link below or just typing it in, bullrunners.com. You'll see this page, and on it you'll get early access to our underground guidebook to become a crypto millionaire by simply clicking right here and just giving us your email. We'll send it to you. So thank you so much for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.